you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you're joining me from. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Accept my greeting according to your time zone. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You can be among the first to receive it. Then go to the comment section at all time. Leave your comment, drop your contribution. If you have suggestions, make it out there. If you have any criticism, put it down on the comment section. It will make us to get better, presenting you a better program. Thank you.
You're welcome. Please share the broadcast on your platform. Share to family and friends. Oscar B. Obi Wobi, thank you for joining. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Anywhere you're joining from, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining on this very broadcast. I'm going to have a quick one. Let us share views together as we always do. I appreciate everybody have joined. Wow, for Monday. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you as you have joined. Any place you are joining. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for sharing. Please keep on sharing. Keep on sharing to all platforms, any place you belong. Chris Ibenagozi, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. What a wonderful name, Ibenagozi. Yeah, that's a nice name. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you as you have joined. Thank you so much. Everyone who has connected to this program, I appreciate you. And I say, may Chukwu Okike continue to guide and protect every one of you. It's unfortunate I've not been regular the way I used to be, and I've not been coming up the way I used to come up due to some certain challenges that are coming up. But I tell you, we will always do what we have to do. Victor Nji, thank you so much for joining, Victor. I appreciate you. No matter the challenges that is coming, we will continue to do what we are doing. So no matter what they do, no matter how they try to stop us, we will continue to send the information that we have to send. We are still consistent on our demand and our speech. Where we stand before, that is where we are still standing. And I tell you that we are moving on. Every Biafra that is on this platform, do not be scared, do not be dismayed, do not be distracted. Do not feel rejected. No matter what happens, we are standing strong. We are moving on. And our spokesperson, Master Simon Ekpa, is still doing a great job leading us into that victory. And I tell you that victory is sure. No matter what you see, no matter the distractions, no matter the obstructions, no matter the anything you can see, don't get distracted. Be focused. Be focused. We will continue to support our spokesperson, Master Simon Ekpa, and continue to pray for him and pray for all those who are genuinely fighting for the freedom. We will continue to speak up on our various platforms, with all the autopilot media. We are still standing strong and standing firm. Regardless of the challenges we are facing at this time, every one of you can see it clearly. That the autopilot media, we are facing a very great challenge. Every platform today that is speaking up for the Biafra actualization, we are facing a great challenge. We are facing so many attacks on our various platforms. But regardless what is coming, we will continue to speak to our fellow Biafrans. And you have to help us by cooperating and also sharing the video to people you need to share. No matter what they do, no matter how they try to stop us or cage us or take down our platforms, we will continue to speak with the little opportunity we have to let Biafrans know our stand. And the only thing I have to remind you here is that we are still standing on our ground. The position we are holding yesterday, we are still holding today, we will hold tomorrow until our Supreme Amazon Nandekano is released. We will continue to demand for his release. The release of Mazin Nandekano is the only thing that matters to Biafrans today. That is the only thing that matters to us. That is the only thing in the front burner of every Biafran today. We will continue to ask for the release of our Supreme Amazon Nandekano, no matter what they do. And nothing can change except Mazin Nandekano is released. If Mazin Nandekano is not released, everything we are doing and we have been doing will remain the same. Every pronunciation we have made will remain the same. Whatever demand we have made in the past will remain the same. Nothing can change it. The only man that has the right to change anything is Mazin Nandekano. And if they refuse to release him, everything remains the way it is. So you have to have that at the back of your mind. And today, as usual, I come here to encourage my fellow Biafrans. Biafrans all over the world that are watching. Any part of the world you are watching from, I say, may Chukwu Okike Abiama give you the wisdom, knowledge, understanding to digest this message today. This message I'm giving today is to Biafran people. As we are heading into a very difficult time, as we are moving closer into a very difficult time and getting to Biafra, which is our destination, a lot of things is going to happen. And when you look the topic I chose here, I say, your family is not your enemy. I want every Biafran to hold that in their heart. Your family is not your enemy. And when I'm talking about family, every one of us here knows what family is. Every one of us here knows what family is. When you talk about family, there must be something that connects you with that very person. Genetically. When you talk about a family, there must be something that connects to you to that very person. Genetically, there must be some very close connection with you and that very person. There must be an ancestral connection. That is where we are going to narrow this familyhood today. We narrow this familyhood to our ancestral connections. We are not trying to cage this family issue to our immediate and direct family. No. We want to expand it to our ancestral connections. Those are our families. Just like you have the Biafran people. Biafran people, we are one family. That is why Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, when he was choosing a name, he chose that word, IPOB, the indigenous people of Biafra. And he said IPOB and we respond one family. Always remember that. When Mazen Nnamdi Kanu said IPOB, we respond what? One family. Up to today, we are still responding as one family. That is the family I want you to look at. The same thing, the Oduduwa people, they still have one family in Oduduwa land. They are one family because they have one ancestral parents. All the Oduduwa people, they have one source, one ancestral parents. When it comes to ancestral relationship like that, you can be able to differentiate Oduduwa people with Biafran people. Oduduwas are one family, Biafrans are one family, but we are friends and we are neighbors. The same thing with the North, the Hausa people. The Hausa people, they are one family. The Arewas, they are one family. And they are on their own path. So, narrowing this very broadcast down, I'm trying to let you know, every Biafran should have this at the back of your mind that your family is not your enemy. Your family is not your enemy. That is why, if you want to understand it very well, that your family is not your enemy, go back to the meaning of enemy, the meaning of the direct meaning of enemy in Igbo language. When you say enemy in Igbo language, what do you call it? Enemy in Igbo language, what is it? Enemy in Igbo language means onyiro. Onyiro, onyiro. That is what enemy is in Igbo language. An outsider. An outsider. But that outsider, who is the real enemy, can equally use a weak person among your family to attack you. An outsider will always look for the weak people among you, the weaker ones. That is why it is very important that you carry everybody along. That is why it's important that we must, when we are talking about having Biafra, this is why we are fighting for this Biafra, so that we can have a place where we can be able to treat everybody equally. Make sure that nobody is neglected. Because when you begin to neglect a member of your family, that your member of your family becomes your weak point. Onyilo can take that your enemy to fight you, and now you'll be looking at your own brother, your family, as your enemy. Meanwhile, that your family is not your enemy. This is what we are seeing today. This is what is happening today on various places. Even in the movement of Biafra that we are talking about. That is why most time I don't like people attacking Biafrans as being the cause of their problem. Or you focus on channeling your energy on fighting against your own brothers as Biafrans. No. It is wrong. It is wrong. The enemy is not your family. Your family cannot be your... Anybody that tells you that your family is your enemy, that person himself is your enemy. That very person is an enemy. You can only have weaklings. You can only have the weak ones, those ones that are weak, the weak points. the weakling ones, those ones that are weak among you, can be used to reach out to you. And they are being reached because you have neglected them. You made them vulnerable because you did not carry them along. You made them vulnerable because you did not treat them equally with yourself. You made them vulnerable because you left them to live at a very low standard. That is why you see some of them being used. Even in the Biafra struggle we are doing today, you see so many moles. If you check very well, go and check the foundation of those moles. So many of them don't have a strong foundation. They don't have a strong foundation. And so many of them, due to the competition on the ground, they began to see that the only way they can be relevant is to listen to the enemy, which is the Onyilo. You will find out that your brother will be listening to the real enemy, the Onyilo. Your brother will be listening to them. And then, in order to satisfy his own confidence, in order to make himself confident and feel relevant, and then things will begin to happen. But I tell you, if you can be able to focus on the real enemy and that real enemy and treat your own brother equally like yourself, make sure you carry your own brother along. I tell you, you will go places. You don't need to fear. The enemy that you have to be very, very worried about is that enemy that is looking for your weak point. They can find that weak point among your own family. It is possible. They can find that weak point among your own family. With it, and each and every time the enemy is coming, the Onyilo, I always use the Onyilo for you to be able to understand what enemy is. In Igbo language, Onyilo, an outsider. That is what enemy is, an outsider. It is not your family. For you to be able to understand this very enemy, you must always pay attention to people around you. Pay attention to your family. The things you know you can do for them, do it. The things, if you know how to carry them along, support them, encourage them, and do your own possible best to see that everybody is going along. As soon as you leave a weak point, as soon as you leave somebody around you becomes very weak and vulnerable, that outsider will use that very person against you. The real enemy, the person that is the enemy, will use that very person around you. And at the end of the day, you will end up destroying your own brother. You will end up fighting your own brother, who in the actual sense was supposed to be there as your defense. You fight your own brother and you destroy your own pillar by your own self. And then the enemy will be outside sleeping and rejoicing and laughing. One of the major ways we can be able to deal with the enemy is to make sure we handle things around us properly. Treat people that are around us, treat them properly. Carry them along. Carry them along as much as you can. Anything you know you can do to carry them along, do it. As long as you are the one on top. Fingers are not equal. There's never a time we can be equal. In every family, there are people who are up there, some are below, some are down. But you don't have to position yourself in a distance to the extent that you become unreachable by your family. As soon as you create that distance between you and your family, and you make sure your family doesn't reach you, the enemy will look at that very weak point, that gap you have left. The Onyilo will feel it, and he will use that very gap with the weaklings among you to make sure they destroy you. As we are moving into Biafra, as we are moving into our freedom, as we are moving diligently, pay attention to every family member around you. And remember what I said, when I talk about family, I am talking about ancestral families, people you are connected to ancestrally. I narrowed it down to regional. When you see the Oduduwa people, it is very, very certain that the Oduduwa people are from one ancestral parents. From the history we have said, they are from one parents, they speak the same language, they do certain things, cultures are the same. These are people from one family. The same thing with the Arewa people. Arewa people have a similar kind of, the Hausa people, they have similar kind of life. The culture they have, the kind of food they eat, what they do, the names they answer, Look alike. The religion. Then when you narrow it down to the side of the Biafran people, we are also one family. The old southeastern region, which is the present south and the southeast with the lower Benue, we are one family. We have one ancestral parents. Our languages are similar. It doesn't matter if an Ijaw man speaks and you listen carefully, you will hear one or two of your language in it. If anybody in Biafra land speaks and you pay attention, you will hear one or two things in what he or she is saying. Our food is similar. The way we prepare our food is similar. Our culture is similar. They are one religion, almost the same religion. So, the Biafra, we are one family. Knowing this at the back of your mind, remember that Onyilo abro your own brother and your sister. The enemy is not your brother, is not your sister, is not your family. Stop saying your own brother and your sister. That is what the Onyilo want you to do. The real enemy wants you to begin to see those who are going to protect you to be your enemy. And they do that because you have already left a weak point for them. They have seen your weak point. When they see those weaklings you have left behind, they will penetrate into them because naturally, human beings want to feel relevant anywhere they are. It is natural to every human being. Every human being that has breath wants to be recognized wherever they are. It doesn't matter how poor, how low, how educated, how uneducated they are. They want to be recognized that at least they are existing. And when you fail to recognize them and an outsider will come and give them that recognition, pay attention to them and listen to what they have to say, they begin to feel relevant in the hand of that outsider. And that real enemy, which is Onyilo, that enemy will use them against you. And you end up seeing your own brother as your enemy. Meanwhile, he is not the real enemy. He's not the real. That is why sometimes some of these languages we use and some of these we use, it is better we use our own language to interpret it. When you go to the translation directly from your language, you begin to understand it better. I saw somebody trying to join the discussion. If you want to join, keep your phone this way and make sure you click your rotation on. Put your rotation on and keep your phone this way. That's the only way you can be able to join my platform. Thank you. I'm going to bring you in if you're prepared to come in. So as I was saying, we must always pay attention to this. Very important. Very, very important. It is not time for us to be. If you have been seeing your own brother as the enemy, don't. Stop that. Stop that. As we are entering into a very difficult stage, as we are entering into it, as we are pursuing our freedom, as we are pursuing a place of refuge, that is what Biafra is. That is what our eternal leader, Dim Odmegojuku, called this, a place of refuge, a place where the oppressed people run into and they are saved. That is how our eternal leader described Biafra. A place where the oppressed people run for shelter. As we are preparing to prepare this ground and get back this home, you must have it at the back of your mind that your brother is not your enemy. Your family cannot be your enemy. Your family is not. Stop seeing your family as your enemy. The more you continue to see your family as your enemy, you cannot achieve. You can't make headways. You cannot. You cannot. We must do everything we can to make sure we carry everybody along. And that is why we have been saying all that we've been saying for a very long time. That is why we have been shouting on the place. Let me tell you, will your brother make mistake? He will. Of course he will. Will your sister make mistake? Of course he will. Will your sister or brother make mistake? Will your family make mistake? Of course they will make mistake. But everybody is prone to make mistake. But when he or she make mistake, do not discard him or her. When he or she make a mistake, do not discard him or her. If you do, you have now created an avenue for the enemy to use against you. Each time you discard your brother for one mistake or the other, You push that your brother totally out. You condemn him, you blackmail him, you do all sorts of things. You are preparing a fertile ground for the enemy. That's what they're doing. You are preparing a fertile ground for the enemy. And after preparing that fertile ground for the enemy, now you come to blame your family as being your enemy. You prepare the ground for the enemy. You gave the enemy the instruments, and you have made your own brother an instrument in the hand of the enemy. But your brother is not the enemy. Always remember, there is always an eye watching you outside. Onyilo, the enemy, is always there watching closely to see your weak points. The Onyilo, the enemy, is watching 24/7. They don't blink. They don't blink an eye. They are watching 24/7 for you to make that mistake. As soon as you make that mistake, they will grab that opportunity and they will use it against you. And before you know it, you begin to fight a battle that cannot end, because you cannot fight your own. You cannot destroy yourself. A kingdom that rises against itself will not stand. Every one of us say it every time. We always say it, that any kingdom that rises against itself will not stand. But yet, some of us still get into fighting against their own kingdom. If you believe truly that a kingdom that rises against itself will not stand, there is no point, there is no time you will open your eyes in broad daylight and you begin to see your own brother as enemy, because your own brother, both of you are in the same kingdom. All you have to do is to shut that door that you have opened for the Onyilo to enter. Anytime you see your brother who your mind is telling that this person wants your downfall, he's your enemy, try to look through, look carefully, and find that door that you have opened. There is a door that you need to shut. As soon as you close that door through which the Onyilo has entered to penetrate that your brother, once you shut that door, you will see that your brother will be the best defense you can have in life. They will now become the best defense you can have in life. That is how it is. Your family is not your enemy and cannot be your enemy. Your family is not your enemy and cannot be your enemy.